assalamu alaikum, good morning, khush amdeed, ji ayanu, goeiemorgen, ishbata.
Pakhairagale, ni hao, chunashumbe, washmale, ohio gozaima's, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifahal, hale shumachatore, ahlan wasal, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabia, balli keraya. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into PTV World. You're definitely watching World this morning. Today happens to be a very cold day, ladies and gentlemen, over here in Islamabad. It was a little difficult to get out of the bed, but very lucky that I've actually been joined by my very wonderful co-host, who happens to be Ms. Shiza Hashmi. I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. And we hope and pray that everybody out there is ready to kickstart their day with us. Hello, Shiza. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking.
Okay.
Okay, that was serious.
That's good.
Absolutely. So in the morning, I had a similar time actually.
Yeah.
So I was double-minded, not really sure if I wanted to come to work because of the weather, of course, which is why I actually was a bit late as well. So after I got my breakfast and made my coffee, I came back to bed and did that in my bed. And of course, so I was a little late. But on the way here, I realized the, what is it called?
Fog?
What does it do to the,
traffic?
I mean, when you can't. Perfect, perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, the fog situation over here in Islamabad and on the motorways especially is a little grave, to be honest. Early mornings especially. So if you are going to travel today, make sure to call the helpline, that is 130, to be sure to ask them if it is appropriate or safe to travel as well.
Exactly. Thank you very much for saying that.
Visibility is the word I was looking for. It was zero visibility.
Yeah, visibility, ladies and gentlemen, will actually give you that feasibility to travel. So please make sure that you do so. But other than that, you know, so I've been talking about it, we've been talking about it as well, because earlier, you know, in the day over here in Islamabad, ladies and gentlemen, the situation gets really foggy. And so for everybody and anybody who's actually usually late to work, please make sure that you leave at least 10 or 15 minutes earlier, because then there's congestion on different intersections as well. So please make sure to avoid that. And to avoid any untoward or probably, you know, unseen incident, please, I think it's important for anybody and everybody to leave before time, and that will actually help you to kind of reach to your workplace or wherever you're supposed to reach safely. But other than that, today I think, ladies and gentlemen, first things first, what we really need to do is that we really need to remember all of those people who've contributed towards the culture and art and literature of the country, and such is an example of Jamiluddin Saab as well, because today happens to be his birth anniversary. We are remembering him today, ladies and gentlemen. And speaking about Jamiluddin Ali Saab, he was popularly known as Jamiluddin Ali Saab. He was an eminent poet, lyricist, columnist, creator of several popular national songs, including Jeeve Jeeve Pakistan. Nawabzada Mirza Jamiluddin Ahmad Khan, commonly known as Jamiluddin Ali, is being observed today. But Jamiluddin Ali was born in 1925 in a literary family of Delhi. His father, Sir Amiruddin Ahmad Khan, was also a poet, while his mother, Saida Jamila Begum, belonged to the family of the renowned Urdu Sufi poet Khwaja Mir Dard.
Yeah, absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think together today we are remembering him, commemorating all the work that he left as his legacy for Pakistan as well.
Exactly. So,
but other than that, yeah, definitely. Other than that, we have another news, and I think Shahzad is definitely the right person to share this, you being a sports journalist as well. But it's a good news, is it?
Yes, it is. It is a fabulous news, ladies and gentlemen, because every year ICC comes up with their own team of superstars as well. And imagine that Babar Azam this year around gets to be the captain of the T20 ICC team as well. So please go ahead, take a look at this visual, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm so excited about this,
because when we speak about it, the International Cricket Council announced the names of the ICC Men's T20 Team of the Year, with Pakistan skipper Babar Azam as the captain of the squad.
Right, and Pakistan's star players, wicket-keeper Bat Mohammad Rizwan and bowling sensation Shaheen Shah Afridi also made it to the team.
Wonderful. The team consists of Jos Butler, Mohammad Rizwan, Babar Azam, Aiden Markram, Mitchell Marsh, David Miller, Tabriz Shamsi, Josh Hazelwood, Vanindu Hasnaraga, Mustafa Fazur Rahman, and Shaheen Shah Afridi.
And, you know, Shahzad praising the skipper Azam for his outstanding display with the bat in the shortest format in 21. The ICC had said the batsman was at his classy best in the format last year, during which he was also the leading run scorer at the T20 World Cup. So fingers crossed for this year too. What are you feeling about this?
Well, I feel great, you know, because for Rizwan and Babar Azam and Shaheen Shah Afridi to make it, you know, they totally deserve it. And it's because of the fact, for example, if we talk about Babar Azam, I think he's on number 8 when we talk about Test cricket. He's on number 2 or number 3 when we talk about one-day international. I can be wrong too as well. And probably on number 1 when we talk about T20 as well. Rizwan actually has scored tons of runs for himself, for which he has been awarded by ICC as well and PCB at the same time. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I think what we really need to kind of focus on over here is that Virat Kohli is actually missing from the ICC T20 men's team, and it's because of the fact that he decided to step down from the T20 captaincy, but then one day international captaincy was taken away from him. And you know, just because of the South Africa series, he actually stepped down as the test captain as well. And the reason why he stepped down as a test captain, or probably the, you know, the one day captaincy was taken away from him, was because of the fact that Saurav Ganguly and Rahul Dravid were those players who were larger than the game. And it was Virat Kohli who happens to be larger than the game as well, and which is why a lot of people watch test cricket. But I think that those loggerheads cannot actually accept another loggerhead as well. So I think that's why they kind of removed him. There's a lot of controversy going around, you know, because there are people saying that, you know, that he went to the BCCI secretary and he spoke about, you know, how he wants to retire from, you know, being a captain. But then if everybody, you know, on the international media is saying that, hey, you know what, that you're good, so why shouldn't they actually, you know, stop him or probably tell him that, hey, you know, this is not the time for you to go. You really need to be there, because Virat Kohli as a captain played 68 test matches, out of which he won 40. There were 11, I think, losses, and then there were 4 with no results as well. Whereas we speak about MS Dhoni, I think he played 60 matches where he won 28, 27 odd. And Rahul Dravid, when he was the captain, I think he got to play 47 or 40 test matches odd, out of which he won 27.
Well, okay, that is brilliant. And of course, you're really good at what you do as well. It made me feel like if I were talking about movies or dramas, this was your reaction, poker face. But thank you for informing us, Shahzad. I actually have a very small but an amazing news to share.
Wow.
This is going to be the last one, I promise you. Right. So do you remember this was last year? A lot of news was coming in terms of, you know, the right to have a nationality, an ID card and a passport for transgenders. Then there were universities and colleges who were inducting transgenders as students, and most of them were even getting free free tuition for their degrees that they were learning as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the story that we're now going to share, this is so inspirational for a lot of people out there.
This makes me happy.
It's really heartwarming. If we can have the picture first. So this person, who of course happens to be from the transgender community, is now the first ever transgender doctor that Pakistan has produced. The name happens to be Sara Gill. Congratulations, Sara Gill. We're really so proud of you. And I mean, I'm extremely happy to be saying
Exactly. So this is how the news goes. 23-year-old Sara Gill recently made history when she became Pakistan's first transgender doctor. Sara has successfully completed her MBBS final exams at Karachi University with hard effort and determination. She believes that everyone can achieve anything. She has put in a lot of effort to become a doctor, and she says no one can stop you from achieving something if you're passionate about it. Pakistan's first transgender doctor said on the show Nukta-e-Nazar about her success. There are difficulties in life, adding that I wanted to make Pakistan famous, and my parents have also accepted me after I became a doctor. Imagine what kind of a longer journey she might be on, that, you know, after becoming a doctor, that, you know, Sara Gill's parents actually finally accepted her as well. But Sara Gill, you are the pride of Pakistan, and you've made sure that you're going to set an example for future generations as well, because to be very honest, we over here at World This Morning have always spoken about inclusivity and equality, and I think that this actually kind of gives out a brighter message for all of those people who might have had similar journeys as yours.
Definitely, and we'd love to have you on the show someday. We'll plan on that too. But Shahzad, speaking of, you know, breaking stereotypes, don't you feel like we've come a long way? It's definitely, I mean, kudos to the generations before us as well, because they did, I mean, all the generations in their time did have a fight to actually break the stereotypes of that very realm. And I'm saying that because the story that we just shared of Sara Gill as well, it is breaking stereotypes, to be honest. First of all, a transgender, that to graduating, becoming a doctor, being accepted by the family. And then when we talk about what to study, what degrees to get, and we've always spoken about this, it's only been hardly, you know, 15-ish years that now we have more options. The only options people used to have in Pakistan were engineer ban jao, doctor ban jao. And then to some lucky people, there was an idea of a pilot as well. Yes, some men could.
Some men? How can you say that, yeah?
No,
don't say that.
Some men wanted to be pilots.
Okay, some men wanted to be.
Wanted to be pilots is what I'm saying. So if women even going in the field of aeronautics for that matter came on later on, just recently, a few years ago, and of course we're really happy to be celebrating that, but even studying aeronautics for that matter had very little things to offer. Ladies and gentlemen, are we
Yeah.
still talking, right?
Exactly. So, what we really want to share with you today is that, when we talk about artificial intelligence, when we talk about quantum computing, ladies and gentlemen, I think that there are a lot of other fields which people are really chasing these days. And it's because of the fact that the return is greater and there's greater benefit. And not a lot of people actually knew about these courses being introduced over here in Pakistan as disciplines as well. So we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by, two wonderful, amazing students, first of all, who happen to have completed their modules but are actually making sure that they're going to get their skills on their hands as well, that too at on-job training, and we will be sharing their work experience as well. But we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by Director Operations of the Aviation Training Hub, who actually is going to let us know about what aircraft maintenance engineering is all about. And this is a newer trend. A lot of people are getting into it, and it gives you a lot of benefits as well. So, so very quickly to talk about it, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky. So this gentleman happens to be my childhood buddy. I'm very lucky that, he's actually taken out time for his entire team to be here on our show as well. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I will be introducing the Director Operations for Aviation Training Hub. He happens to be Mr. ADIL CHEEMA. Hello, Assalamu Alaikum CHEEMA Saab. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you very much for joining us. Wonderful to have you. Thank you very much. We share the same player. It's wonderful. But alongside CHEEMA Saab, we're very lucky that we've been joined by somebody who happens to be an admission manager, and he is Mr. HAROON RASHEED. Hello, assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. So he's the guy, if God forbid the institute's not kind of letting your son or daughter get into the institute, he's the guy.
He's the one to
call him privately. He might do something. But alongside HAROON RASHEED, we're very lucky that we've been joined by somebody who happens to be the aircraft maintenance engineer himself. He is Mr. BILAL. Assalamu alaikum, and he's been recognized by the UK authorities as well. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Wa alaikum salam, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us. Wonderful to have you. So first things first, I think. You want to go first?
I
Okay,
actually
ladies
want
first.
to, thank you so much. I wanted to start with Bilal because I think while of course we will have a lot of questions to ask where the idea came into being and how it's going, how did you decide that this is what I want to study and this is where I'm going to go?
Okay, so it's
And did you feel like, when you started, did you ever feel like this was going to be successful, in all honesty?
okay. I feel you've clicked the right buttons because I have a story to tell.
Oh,
Sure.
brilliant.
The first time I traveled in an aircraft was in 2015,
Okay.
and we traveled to Dubai and then later on to Saudi.
So the first time you traveled in a plane, you went to Dubai, yeah? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And the moment the aircraft took off, the airplane took off on this giant heap of metal. And me being a kid in high school, I was in O-levels. And I was like, how did this happen? What just happened?
Right.
I just saw this aircraft myself with my own eyes. It was a hunking piece of metal. And it just flew. And right there and then, I decided, whatever I want to do, it's got to be related to this.
All right.
Nice.
I want to know how this thing happens and who makes this happen. So that was the story. It just sort of clicked here, and
Interesting.
it became my obsession.
Yeah.
It was more than just passion. It was an obsession then. And later on, my wallpapers would be airplanes. I would be playing on flight simulators on my PC. I'd be watching YouTube videos of just airplane sounds. I would plug my headphones in, and I'd just listen to airplane sounds.
Yeah.
They have a specific term for these people. They call them aviation geeks.
Aviation
And
geek.
I identify as one. It's a proper term. You could Google it.
I think my
We
father
did
is one as
actually.
well, because whenever we are on the road with my father driving, he'll actually stop the car if there's a aircraft kind of flying over our heads. He'll get out of the car and just look at the aircraft. I'm like, what are you looking at? You can do that any time of the day by just switching on to YouTube, which is great. But now I think what Shiza was trying to ask you was that how successful do you think your choice of joining Aviation Training Hub was or has been, the
Right.
journey itself?
Right. So I think I was very lucky to been guided by Aviation Training Hub, and I was lucky to find it because there's no other institution as of now in Pakistan as the likes of Aviation Training Hub. The reason for that is what differentiates Aviation Training Hub from other institutes is that it offers you a campus life,
Yeah.
which is very different. So Aviation Training Hub in Islamabad is based in IST, Institute of Space Technology, and we have cutting edge labs, aerodynamic labs, we have wind tunnels, we have hangars, state-of-the-art facilities.
Wow.
And you could come visit actually, and
We
you
would
could
love
see,
to.
you could see
We
the
have a
facilities
video
that we
as
have.
well.
Do you have a zero gravity zone as well, where we can just kind of experience, if God forbid, the aircraft goes into space, and that's how we might feel.
As-
That's me just being,
Wishful.
because and I've always been very wishful of becoming a pilot, and I have a very interesting story to share, because there's one of these cadet colleges in Lower Topa,
Yeah.
where a lot of students go, just in case that they are prepared to kind of get ready to join Pakistan Air Force as well. So imagine, so I actually went to appear in an examination, in an entry examination. There were 4 subjects. I failed 3 of them. so they did let me in. But let me just come down to Haroon over here. So Haroon, even you're done with your modules as well, and now you actually happen to be the admission manager. So we'll come to the admission manager later. But first of all, how was your experience of Aviation Training Hub? And because this field is very different and not a lot of people know about it as well. So share your story.
This field is, as you have said, that this field is really different from others. Because as ma'am also have said that all the ambitions of our parents is that our student must be an army soldier or a engineer or a doctor.
शादी अच्छी हो जाती है ना, रिश्ते अच्छे मिलते हैं.
Exactly.
That's
And
what
I
they say.
have got a question about that from one parent, that if my son will get the license, will he get a good rishta or not?
Imagine.
So well,
From an-
this is what parents are asking the admission officer. Yeah, come on.
Brilliant. Go on.
So my experience about this field was I want to be a mechanical engineer, like related to cars. But and I am in this field, I won't lie, that I haven't been on air journey
You haven't?
since
So far?
I'm born.
Wow. So the planes you've been fixing, you never got a chance to get in
Yep,
yet.
I don't.
But isn't that interesting? I mean, if you've never, then how come you actually developed this interest in it?
Actually, I love to dismantle and mental things.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Like
So you're one of those kids, where a father used to bring in a toy car and then you would open it up and
yes,
then put it
a
back
new
in.
a new toy
And
car,
then it
and I'll
won't
just
work.
try to break it, and then I'll repair it, and I'll be.
And will it
happy
work
guy.
when
Yep.
you repair it?
Yeah.
Wow.
He did a same sort of thing while we were traveling to Gilgit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he opened the carburetor of the car and he said, I'm going to clean it up.
Okay.
The car didn't work for another 4 hours.
Yep.
And we were like, Haroon,
And,
what are you?
and was it
Why didn't you?
no, and was it after he actually was admitted in the aviation training hub?
Yes.
I think that speaks volumes about the training, But other than that, I think Cheema Saab, I'll come down to you now,
Yes,
because
sir.
let's talk about it a little seriously as well, because this is serious business. Not a lot of people are doing it. First of all, let us know about this entire program. So, and is it a degree or a license? And if you get this license, what are you capable of doing? And that too worldwide, or is it just based in Pakistan?
Yes. Actually, the most important thing is that we should understand what a license is. So in Pakistan, people are aware of a car driving license or an aircraft pilot license.
Private.
So same way, if that pilot is acquiring a license to fly this aircraft, so my question is that if a person is just theoretically studying, will he be able to fly that aircraft?
No.
That's not possible.
True.
Same way, the engineer, he needs to work hand-on while he's being prepared for these theoretical exams and everything.
True.
Luckily, Aviation Training Hub is not certifying its students locally, but from EASA, European Air Safety Association. So what they have designed Part 66 module in which aircraft engineer has to be trained. So Aviation Training Hub from the past 7 to 8 years is actually doing this Part 66 program for the students in Pakistan. What we do is that we bring them on board. We make them clear the international certifications. And in international examiner flies over to Pakistan after every 4 months to conduct these exams. We are not conducting these exams because the certification is to be issued by EASA. So their authorities are coming. So
it's like us appearing in Cambridge exams or Oxford examinations, and the exams coming from Cambridge and Oxford themselves, we appearing over here, they go back, they check them, and then let us know whether we passed or not.
So the degree and a license, the main difference is that while our child is being passing out all these certifications after every 4 months. He's visiting airport, working on live aircraft for the complete
While
3
he's
years.
preparing, yeah.
While he is preparing.
Okay.
So twice a month or thrice, he's visiting to the airport for whole day long.
Yeah.
He goes there, and on small aircraft, Cessna, the aircrafts being used by the these flying academies for training purposes.
So it's like
the
being on a house
aircraft.
job, yeah.
Yeah, it's a house job.
Exactly, wonderful. Now,
But
I think that the most important aspect where you said that we really need to differentiate in between a license and a degree
Yeah.
is that you mentioned about the private pilot license as well, the commercial pilot licenses, and there are people who actually go for these courses, but so they have their flying hours, right?
Yeah.
After which they're going to get their licenses.
Yeah.
But then they have the theoretical examinations as well, where
Yeah.
they really need to know the altitude and everything,
Yeah.
so what goes around within the cockpit.
Yes.
So hence they have the theoretical knowledge, the degree itself, and then the license. But with you, what you're trying to say is that while the students are studying, they have to go to the airport, have hands-on experience as well, and then after 3 years, EASA is going to give them that license that they are worthy of looking
Certified.
after the aircrafts. That true?
Yes, that's
Wow,
true.
wonderful. That's what I
But
wanted
not
to
right after 3 years.
Okay.
It's actually after 3 years you are done with your basic license of,
Alright.
on small aircraft.
Okay.
So then you go to the airline and then you start working like Bilal Zia.
Yeah.
So he's
So,
an
so I'm
example.
going to move on
himself.
to him as well.
I
because-
Yeah.
Okay, you
if
want
I
to
could
move?
ju-
Yes,
yeah,
go ahead.
Sorry, but I have to sort of
Yeah.
put you guys on the spot over here. No names, but I happen to know a female who wanted to be a commercial pilot, and she is now. But on her test, when she had to finally take the flight, she crashed the plane. And it's a very popular story. This is happening over here in Pakistan. This
Okay.
was a few years ago.
That happened?
But she has the title, right? So I think my question is more relevant to you. Would you, I mean, is it safe to say that you would also give admissions to people just for the sake of increasing the list numbers? Because that is what it made me
Or making
feel.
money.
Making money, of course. I mean, that is what made me feel. If this is the type of people you're training and then this is how they're taking a flight, are you just inducting numbers?
No, that's not the thing Aviation Training Hub is doing.
Okay.
We have an admission criteria. Like you have to clear the basic 12 years of education,
Okay.
Yeah.
that is pre-engineering. And after that, like the past 12 years, you haven't studied about aviation, anything. So how can I just judge you that are you eligible for this course or not? So we have a basic
Aptitude test?
admission test
Okay.
Okay.
that you have to clear it, and after that it's all about interview.
And also, I add up to the question that you have asked is that actually we are preparing kids for international examiner. So we are not going to conduct exams by ourselves,
Right,
like
right.
all other institutes or universities in Pakistan do.
No.
We can't conduct exams by ourselves. We just train
So you
them.
won't be judging
Examiner.
them.
Yeah, so we just train our students. We make them prepare well for it, and then examiner is going to come from
Right.
Germany to conduct these exams, and he is going to verify it. So anyone passing out our institute is not actually being marked by us, but
But this
from
makes
IASA.
your job easier, no? CHEEMA sir, this makes your job easier because you can induct anyone and everyone and prepare them for the examination,
so
right?
If they-
the problem is
Because
that
it's not you who needs to take the exam, it's them. So even if somebody fails, either they will drop out of the institute.
no. The thing is that we are being questioned that you have inducted
Okay.
a class of 28. Why they are being unable to pass out exam after 4 months? So this is questions that comes on me, on Haroon,
Okay.
that why you have inducted such child. So what we have to make clear is that while we are having that admission test, so we have to see the minimum requirement that we have graded over there. At least 60% marks are to be obtained by the student so that he can clear out that ASA exam later on.
I think when
Wow,
it
and
when,
that
when
is the
it
minimum
is,
requirement. To be
and
honest.
we lose a seat actually.
but I think when it is all about aircrafts, it needs to be at least 80 or 90% or 110% as well. But
Swear,
very
man.
sorry, moving on to Bilal here. So Bilal, you're done with your modules now, alhamdulillah. So share your experiences of how you got into work as well, because you're working with a domestic airline these days as well. So the nature of your job, and then towards the end, we'll actually ask you whether how much do we have to pay for these courses and a 3-year program and what, please.
Okay, so while I was doing my modules, ATH actually provided me with opportunities to work in flying clubs, as Mr. CHEEMA described. So what that does is, many people will be turned away by this, and they're going to be like, we were promised to work on large aircraft. What are these small trainer two-seaters? And that's our initial reaction. But the thing is, an empty CV is better. A filled CV is better than an empty CV.
Yeah.
And that's what actually helped me to get into an airline. I mean, would you rather just give your modules and sit at home, or would you rather, work a bit?
True.
Go out in the sunlight and get some tan as well.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And while I was working, I didn't know that AirCL would be launching, but I did have faith that I'm honest to my work and I'm working hard, and eventually I will get into some good place.
Wow.
And alhamdulillah, an airline is a good place.
Exactly.
And I'll be coming to that shortly. So AirCL, they launched their vacancies and I applied, and alhamdulillah, I was shortlisted for the interview. They took a test. I mean, you asked about the competency of people. I mean, even if someone does happen to pass from this institute, they would have to be super brilliant to get into an airline, because an airline does not just take you in on your marks. They don't even look at your marks. They don't even look at your module exams. They want to see how you perform on the interview. You're going to be sitting in front of a panel of engineers that have 40 years of experience, and they're going to batter you.
It must be so nerve-wracking.
Yeah. And they ask you all kinds of questions. And since it's technical in nature, you can always mess up. But alhamdulillah, I didn't. And I am where I am. So the nature of my job, well, it's a very fun job. It's very different from a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I hated 9-to-5 jobs. I cannot imagine sitting in front of a computer all day.
Yeah.
Honestly, that would just...
Haroon's like, bro, that's
that
my
would,
life.
that would just kill me from the inside.
Even Haroon is not doing that.
Acha, okay.
Every day we have something new. We have to go out. Sometimes we have to work overtime. Sometimes we have to work in the rain.
Yeah.
We have to work in the sun. We have to work at nights in the winter. So it's fun. And I would suggest, I mean, if that's your thing, come join us and train with us.
Oh, wonderful. So, what you've done is that you've actually kind of replaced laptop with an aircraft. I think that's what you've
The
done.
workplace has
It's the best office in the world.
got changed.
Oh, that's
Yes.
wonderful. And do you think that being an aviation maintenance engineer, it will actually run your household in a manner that you will be able to lead a good life?
It's a pertinent
Actually,
question, to be
this
honest.
is
This is a question for him, Cheema Sahib. You
yeah.
really need to give him the opportunity.
That's why I called him. You need not.
It's
to
all right.
worry
It's all
about
right.
my
We're
work.
friends. We're friends. Yes.
Okay. This is actually the question that we're here for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is why if parents are listening, that's what their main concern is. So I'm going to start with the best thing, free flights.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sold.
Every airline employee gets free flights, not only for themselves, but for their parents,
Yeah.
for their kids, for their wife, and whoever else the airline specifies.
Only if they let us go, if there's an aircraft which needs maintenance, how can I be taking flights?
I think every aircraft needs
Yeah. Okay, so that was just to give you some motivation. Other than that, well, I'm going to be honest. Any technical education and skill-based work, the initial stages are not going to be as high rewarding.
Obviously.
Because you're on a training stage, you're not on a junior stage. So a junior engineer or a technician is not going to earn as much. But once you get your license, which is just 5 years away, like 3 + 2 is 5, right?
Yeah.
So that's when you really start to earn, and you earn so much. I mean, I cannot. I mean, if I disclose the figures here,
Yeah, please.
it's gonna sound-
Do that.
Don't disclose the figure. Just
It's
say
gonna
7
sound-
figures. 7 figures.
Is it 7?
Yeah,
I
easily.
think-
Yeah,
And
that's
not
seven
just
figures,
that,
that's
not just
wonderful.
that. The benefits are so much. I mean, good
Can
airlines.
we be admitted? Do I still have time?
Like
I
yes,
hope you're not too
you do
old.
have time.
Big airlines like Emirates, they give you free housing. The salary is tax-free, free flights. The medical insurance is covered. Your
This is very
kids'
tempting, huh? You
education
have to
is
stop.
covered.
But we're glad that finally that we've opened up doors to these newer disciplines as well, and how students are actually being able to do whatever they want to do. It's wonderful. But very quickly towards the end, so what are the prerequisites, the course fee, and when do the admissions open up for the aviation training hub? Tell us all very quickly.
Okay, the admission requirement is number one that you have to clear all the 12 years of education. It can be FSC, pre-engineering,
A-levels.
medical, in arts,
Yes, A-levels
whatever.
especially.
But maths and physics is compulsory.
Okay, yeah,
Ew.
that's
So
what
you
it
have
is.
Sorry, go on.
Okay, so the next step, that is the fees. Our fee structure is divided into three
Over 3
fees.
years.
Okay.
3 phases. Like we are training our students, and our examination department, that is our partner, German partner.
Yes, sir.
He will take the examination fees, and our training department, that are the flying clubs. They'll also take the fees. that we are charging.
Yeah.
Okay, that
So-
makes
So
sense.
to earn 7 figures, you know, you really need to spend 7 figures.
No.
That's what you No? Okay. Director
Actually,
Saab?
the thing is that there is no education in Pakistan in which you can come up after getting the license right onto the spot. Like if you're becoming a doctor, you have to study and you have to, but to attain the same amount that you have spent on your education after becoming an aircraft license, within 2 or 3 salaries, you will be getting everything back to you.
Wow, that's
But the
wonderful.
thing is that it's around 21 lakh rupee. Everything
For
is
3 years.
included for 3 years.
That's
For 3
wonderful.
years. It's done. All right, and we have divided it. So
So
you
when
don't
add
have to
4
pay it
more-
upfront.
I think you add 4 more lakhs and you're a doctor in 5 years. That's what it is. I was just
But
kidding.
But you will be going through a long journey
True.
to attain that back.
true.
So,
That's
so
right,
that
that's
investment that you have
Thank
spent.
you very much, Cheema Sahib. I was just pulling your leg. You know, it is our sole responsibility to make sure that we check how deep the water is. So thank you very much for being so kind and humble. And thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time. It was lovely to be in conversation, and especially to talk about a field which we were very unaware of, and we want the
Yes.
world to kind of go follow their dreams and chase them.
Yeah, and Shahzad, how often have we spoken about the issue that still remains, you know, the linkages between academia and the industry? And if an institution is offering you that, of course, I don't know what else we should look for. But on this note, ladies and gentlemen, we're headed out to a very short break. When we come back, we are going to be sort of taking this discussion forward, but in a different direction. I mean, let's see how that goes. Stay tuned. Good morning.
Truck art from Pakistan is renowned to the world for its attraction and unique sense of artistic taste. Pakistani truck art is Pakistan's cultural identity. One look at a truck with artistic work over it, and the first thing which would come to your mind would be Pakistan.
I've been driving truck for the last 5 years. Not only it's my interest and passion, but also is a source of income for my family and I.
We open up the whole body of a truck and piece it down to various parts to get the painting process smoother. Base frame of the truck gets painted first. Then we move on to the rest of the body where we prepare the whole base structure. Once the foundation is all checked, it is sent to the painter. And then after it gets painted, it's further sent to the decoration department. It takes around 2 months to get the procedure completed.
Trucks in Pakistan are decorated with the slogans and pictures all over their bodies from local folklore that gives them a Pakistani look. These slogans are the fortune cookies of Pakistan. After reading them, you have something to ponder over your own life and sometimes about the life around you.
I started working on truck art since 1980s and continued doing it till now. There's a lot of work involved in painting a truck. We start with basic coloring to the blank surface. It takes at least 2 to 4 days on painting a truck. Everything that includes flowery art and bird designs is taken into consideration. We also invest in scenic beauties like Kashmir, Sawat, Khyber.
Welcome back to Well This Morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Shahzad Khan. I am Shiza Hashmi, and we really hope and pray that you're going to have an amazing day, especially when you have started it with us.
Yeah, obviously, that's what we want. But ladies and gentlemen, I have a very interesting story to share.
Okay.
So imagine, Shiza, I have this question for you and for everybody who's out there. Why do you think that lion is the king of the jungle? When we know that giraffe is the tallest, probably elephant is the biggest of them all, cheetah is the fastest, fox is the clever of them all as well. So why do you think that the lion gets to be the king of the jungle?
I don't think it's about the size, it's the metal he has. I don't know the answer.
Exactly, because none of the characteristics which will actually take you ahead, for example, being the tallest, biggest, or the quickest, or the cleverest, none of these characteristics the lion possesses. But ladies and gentlemen, there's this one characteristic which the lion possesses, and you know what that is? The power of belief. And whatever the lion believes, he actually achieves that, or it actually achieves that as well. So that is what can actually do miracles and wonders in life with humans as well, with the power of belief. And such is an individual with us over here who had this power of belief, and she happens to be one of the youngest ever chairperson of a commercial airline. She's over here with us in the studios. And ladies and gentlemen, she actually happens to be Miss Huma Batool, who happens to be the chairperson of ALVIR Airways as well. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Good morning, assalamu alaikum. And first of all, I'd like to say thank you to you for affording me this opportunity to come here and speak to you and to my audience also. And thank you so much for such a gaudy introduction.
Thank you very much.
We're really
And
pleased
yes,
to have
I
you.
would like to connect at the same point that I think what makes you, achieve things in life is having faith.
True.
That's your first requirement, and life is a continuous journey. And for somebody like me, where I started off, I had to, I had my own set of challenges.
Yep.
But how I managed them, that was the power of faith.
Exactly,
Let's
and this
talk
is
about it.
what we certainly want to talk about, because while I was going through your profile, which alhamdulillah was a very lengthy one as well, so you happen to be an entrepreneur yourself, you happen to be an advocate of women empowerment, you happen to be a poetess as well, so you have a lot of hats and you wear them on different occasions as well. But your journey from being an entrepreneur to, being an advocate of women empowerment and, all of these things which you did, to the point where you became a chairperson of a commercial airline is something which we think is a bigger achievement, and you're going to inspire a lot of women and men at the same time that anything is possible. But how did you go through all of these phases of life and then towards the end becoming the chairperson, which I believe is not the end?
Yes, it is. There's still a lot to come actually, and I would like to first give credit to my parents. They instilled in me a sense of responsibility, that life is a continuous journey and you have to take it very seriously. And also they educated me and groomed me in many things, in many ways, which of course they will stay with me forever for till the rest of my life. And where I started, in my previous interviews, I always say that when I got married, my husband was doing some medicine business, but I inspired him and I motivated him to build his own factory. So that's where I started off as an entrepreneur. And I had been attached with education as well. I've been teaching in Fatima Jinnah Women University and couple of other places also. And that was my personal kind of inspiration. But to survive in this world, I think you have to go by the world parameters also. So because of that, I joined the business industry, and alhamdulillah, I was very successful. And today, if you pick up any of my medicines from any of the stores anywhere in the world, you will have 99.9% efficacy of the medicine. And the journey of the airline, the story of the airline is very interesting as well.
Yeah, go on.
I was actually traveling from Karachi to Islamabad, and I was really troubled, like I was a troubled passenger. And air travels are, anyways, they are troublesome, but for me that was quite a hassle. That was an added trouble also. I wasn't getting tickets, and I had to reach Islamabad. But then on the way to Islamabad, I decided that if somebody like me, I count myself over the privileged, in the privileged and
Segment of the society.
segment of society, yes. So if I can go through such problems, what about the common Pakistani? So why I shouldn't do something for my countrymen, for my people, that they have a convenience, they have a reach for a safe and convenient travel, which is affordable as well for them.
Yeah.
So this is how I started, and this airline, I would like to tell you a little about the airline
Sure.
as well.
Please.
That it's the first ever tourism airline in Pakistan. And
When you say tourism airline, what does that mean?
this is a different type of license.
Okay.
It's government of Pakistan, since they their focus is also on tourism as well. And I would like to add few points here also, that how is it that we can improve the tourism in Pakistan? And I believe the first thing that we need to focus on is the domestic convenience. We always keep imagining that it is only the foreigners who are going to come here and explore the northern areas. Of course, you have a huge population of your own also, which is willing to travel, which is willing to spend money.
And we've seen that from the last 2 years of COVID as well.
Yes, and also this Murray incident, this was very unfortunate, and I think these are the kind of incidents that define the course of future. You can always eliminate the factors which are going to cause such sad incidents in future, and we can focus more on safety, on standards, on priority of the how to go about the tourist sites.
Exactly, that's wonderful, and thank you very much for saying that as well. But I never knew that pharmaceutical business is going to be so great that people will be opening up their own airlines, which I believe is great, and you've done a good job. And this is what we are here for. We are here to promote that the challenges you have overcome as well, and we want people to kind of listen to you so that they kind of take inspiration and do whatever they want to do in life.
Right.
But now obviously, when we talk about aviation, when we talk about licensing, it's a very challenging business, and it's because of the fact that there are a lot of people who will be traveling from your airline every single day, and you want them to be safe in the first place. That's the first priority. But number two, where you said that that you actually had a troublesome experience while you were traveling from Karachi to Islamabad, and you wanted your people to kind of not go through the same feeling ever again, which is why we have ALVIR Airways as well. Now, what is that different niche you are picking up on, or you're targeting that, hey, this is the need of the people, that's what our airline is going to deliver? Because having so many airlines worldwide, world over, I don't think that everybody will always have a good experience in an airline. Because the last time I was in US, I see that they use their airplanes as if they use buses, and that's the kind of feeling you get when you sit in an airplane over there as well. So what is that difference which you will or you think about bringing about as well?
Okay, first, I think the first thing that I'd like to clarify is that air travel in a country like Pakistan, I think it is considered a luxury.
It is.
It's a myth
Which
that
it shouldn't be, though.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. So as you quoted, the US airlines, they have the aircrafts like buses.
True.
So when you travel around the world, like I do in the Middle East, in European, I was recently in Europe, so I could see the aircrafts actually standing like buses, and they are the passenger has the access to them. They are like very nominal prices for traveling from one country to another one.
Exactly.
So the different thing that this whole airline is altogether very different though. I mean, being a woman head of the airline, and then this is the first ever tourism airline, and then I'm as you said, introduced already, that I'm the youngest entrepreneur in the whole world. So basically what I'm going to offer to my passengers is the affordability and safety. Of course, there is no choice other than being safe. In aviation, I'm sure you had been having a great segment. I was listening to your previous segment as well, that in aviation you have no other choice than being safe. Safety is first, and our civil aviation is also working on the same parameters. So are all our other airlines as well. So and I wanted to add few points here as well, that in Pakistan I believe we should focus more on our local destinations as well.
True, absolutely.
So that people, I mean, with the passage of time, I think time is becoming a great challenge for people like us, for many other business people. They want to travel just within one day and finish their job and come back. And this is how it should be. This is how accessible, this is how reachable the air travel should be to people.
Wonderful.
Definitely. And you saying that it is going to be accessible as well. And then, you know, how we were discussing, it is a luxury for a lot of Pakistanis, and you have to pick and choose if you have to, you know, use an airplane to travel domestically. There's a local airline in the US which has now introduced a class below economy.
Okay.
So while of
there are no
course
seats?
the Twitterati went crazy on it. I mean, of course they were making fun. I mean,
Yep.
of course, but there are people who can only afford that. There's no question in that. So when you talk about accessibility and then luxury and affordability, how does that all go together?
No, I think what you're confusing here is luxury and affordability. They cannot go together.
Yeah.
For an aircraft like the one we have chosen, it's a regional jet. So what we will do is we'll be a budget carrier. So you pay for the utilities that you're going to use on board, and you pay for them. Otherwise, you're just paying for the travel, for the destination to destination time, and you know, your travel. So this is it. And second thing, I mean, I think in an economy like Pakistan, this is very important that we look at the bar, the kind of affordability that our people have.
Exactly.
So we need to bring these down. And also with the expansion of aviation industry, since there are very few airlines, so the competition is like, it's a cutthroat competition. And the airline, I would speak on behalf of the entire industry here also, that running an airline is not an easy job. They have their own costs which are very, very heavy and which are unimaginable for a person, for a random passenger to think that how the airline is running the operation. There's a cost to it. So in order to meet that cost, even if they keep it minimal, it's going to be very high for you know, random passenger in Pakistan.
Wonderful.
Right. So ma'am, because we're really short on time and we both have a lot of questions, so I'll quickly make one. Especially after the pandemic, where trillions of dollars were lost for this very industry as well, weren't you scared to still keep it on?
That gave her the opportunity?
No, but weren't you scared? Because imagine if, God forbid, such a thing happens again, not even a pandemic, maybe a civil situation for that matter, and you're shut for 5 to 7 days straight. How are you going to manage?
Actually, this is even more interesting, that whenever I think of a business, I start a business, my revenues are my secondary point.
Okay.
So I first think, I just take the challenge and I make sure, I make it a point, just like I always say that I follow Jinnah, he's my inspiration.
Okay.
That if he can make a country, that making an airline is nothing. It's nothing actually. And being a woman, I think I would like to give my voice to all the women listening to me across, that take up anything, and there is no way that anybody can stop you.
Of course.
If you commit yourself to a cause, if you commit yourself to your self-belief, and it's very important to give child education as well, so that they can make informed choices. And they can, you know, they have to be cherished for the child, so that because she is going to make a huge difference in the nation building.
Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you very much, Ms. Huma Batool, for, you know, making sense with whatever you said, because a lot of people are going to learn from you as well. We want to wish you best of luck, because, ladies and gentlemen, ALVIR Airways is actually going to be operational in March. That's true, right?
Yes, we're trying, inshallah.
So they're trying, and we want to wish them best of luck as well. This is for the very first time that Pakistan is actually going to witness something which is actually going to be all about tourism as well, and that to an airline. But thank you very much once again for being with us. For everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, we hope and pray that you've taken away something from today's show as well, because 1, 2, 3,
Good morning.
Allah Hafiz.